Life has been crazy, just wanna be okay. How can I pick up the pieces when everything breaks with every day? I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me. Everything's changing, just trying to navigate. Oh, I keep on believing I'm gonna find my way with every day. I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me, me, me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me.
Hello, what up Wednesday? Keely Dunn, FH Umpires, you're the third team, and we have a lot of things to talk about. I have a pre-stream alert for wrong polls and other issues. I don't know if that means that I have already made mistakes before I even went live, other than being a little bit late. Sorry, just, things just end up taking a couple more minutes than I usually expect. But there you go. Nice to see so many people in the comments. And those of you who are checking in and saying, I'm going to be Replay Squad, you're my favorites. Thank you very much. It's just nice to know that you are, planning something around this and that you're going to come back and watch the replay. And if this is your first time watching live and you're like, yay, I made it, but the replay's always there and it's almost as much fun. You can even come into the Discord server and you can live text your reactions to live streams. Wouldn't that be cool? That would be really cool. Well, yes, thank you. I had to watch it on my own this week and I didn't have time, so I just anyway. Alexander, good to see you. Wait, totally Replay Squad. And oh, look, these are some darn strong small comments. Let's just fix. Let's just fix because they don't seem to stay. Fed up. Lock overlay, is that going to work? I don't know. Let's try this again. Hey, Taff, good to see you. Okay, now I'm going to lock this overlay. Let's see if it works. Okay, you're just priming Discord. Great, thanks. That's what I really need in my life is paranoia. Nice to see you live, Aline. Good to have you. Let me start my calming music. That is for me and just for me. Samantha's here. Is rant of the week? Do I have a rant of the week? Probably. Someone remind me what my rant of the week is supposed to be this week, because I'm sure I got mad at things in the server. It's just a default state. What can I say? I'm just really skilled. Okay, let's go, because there's a lot. We have too many players. Goalkeepers and aerial interceptions. playing the ball into the goal with the body. Skill session this week is ball placement communication, shootout video referral for an obstruction, a couple of VRs for serious misconducts, crowding the umpire. What? I thought we got over that. Managing an injured player, and we have a special bonus from Instagram, an indoor stick throw. Now, you can check out the Instagram. Now, don't do this if you only have like one monitor or you're on your phone, because I don't want to lose the view time. So don't click away. But if you have like multiple monitors or multiple browser windows, you can go into the description. There's a link to the Instagram post that we're going to talk about, and you can start voting on that now, because I am going to breeze through it. There is one correct answer. One answer only. So don't be wrong. So much pressure. And I'm just going to declare it, and then we're going to be done. And you're all going to be like, what? And then we're going to have to go in the server and argue about it. Okay. Oh, God, what a relief. Rupert's here. I mean, I was going to cancel. I hadn't seen him, and now he's here. You're half alive, half replay. Okay. Club umpiring session later. How about your entire club just tunes into this? Hi. Voot is here. Good. Do I use the V sound? The English V sound? You're going to have to straighten me out on that one, so I get that. Yeah, 9 topics, because I'm overachieving and we're going to go fast. So let's go. Let's go. Topic 1. Too many players. Oh, like nobody knew. Nobody's been talking about this at all. So boring.
Let's have a heart monitor on the coaches here, the coaching staff, the support staff.
Go vote in the poll right away.
It's a game of poker.
It is. It is. Now, I went through the last 10 minutes of the quarter.
Obviously, bursting through a challenge in the trademark Lily Owls.
And I wanted to see what exactly
tackled in
was
the first
happening.
instance by Upton. That is tackle of the tournament.
And be sure, because without this angle all the time, it's hard to know exactly how many players there are, and I'm in the way.
Staying in the game through some more expansive attacking in this third quarter. Into the last minute of it now, but also crucially, some excellent as far as Hawkshaw, who blasts it back into the circle.
It's definitely a bad sign when there is a bib on the floor.
To find Torrens trying to get.
Okay, so wow, things are weird. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is that when you see the first freeze frame, this is not at all to say that there's one particular player who's been named as the 12th is responsible. It's simply that I had 11 in the shot and then I got a 12th. And that was the first moment that I could verify with the broadcast feed that there were too many players. I believe, and it's been confirmed to me by people who were watching from towers on site, that substitution that happened at the 2 minute to go mark is when it happened. Okay. And then we get the confirmation when we look at this screen. If you can, I'm still in the way, but you can see that there's 12 players. And the only reason, and I think you can see that people start looking over at the bench and things like that, and the player who is closest to the bench leaves, because that is the smart thing to do. It is in no way, shape or form to say that it was one particular player's fault. I think I know which player stayed on and forgot to come off, but that's totally different and it doesn't matter. So the question is, first of all, have we seen this before? Yes, we have seen this before. We have seen this lots of times. I went through my match notes from the last, 3 years and counted up all the yellow cards that have been given for too many players on the pitch. And let's say it was less than double digits, but it was more than just a couple. There's also the very famous 2014 World Cup incident when Argentina played with 12 players against England for nearly 13 minutes of a quarter. 13 minutes of a quarter. And won the game. The remedy, it hadn't been spotted during the game. It was just sort of this whole like, oh, it seems kind of like England can't get into the Argentinian circle. This is kind of weird. And off they went with a post-match 1-match suspension to the captain. That was the remedy then. Okay, so let's just have a quick look. Yes, I put it here. This is the section of the rule book that you need to know about, 2.1. And it states very clearly, for those of you who haven't reviewed it before, that a personal penalty may be awarded against the captain of the team if inadvertently having too many players doesn't materially affect the match. Where it occurs and materially affects the match, a personal penalty must be awarded against the captain, and that's when yellow cards are awarded. But the most important part is let's see if this, that definitely did show up there. This is the important part. Decisions taken prior to correcting the situation cannot be changed if and or time and or play has already been restarted. Okay. Another question that people might be interested in knowing more about is, well, how does this happen at this level? How does this, like, why? Why is the why? Why does it happen? And first of all, I included that shot of the bench because I wanted you to see the chaos that is ensuing. At the FIH level, where there is a technical table who is in charge of the benches, checking the uniforms, making sure that people's sticks meet the stick specifications, making sure the timing is going right. They have all these duties, including helping ensure that the right number of players are on the pitch at the same time. And it's really not on the umpires at this point because ain't nobody got time for that. Basically, it's just too much to have, considering you've got all these. See, I'm getting Discord alerts and I'm paranoid now. Too much to keep track of for any umpires. So this really is the technical official's responsibility. And they often stand with a notepad and they check off when players move and they're counting and they're doing all that kind of thing. And for whatever reason, it just didn't happen in this case. And the extra players occurred for the extra player was on the pitch for approximately 50 seconds. Okay. And so I did this analysis and then I got confirmation from friends who were there that yes, it was about 60 seconds when they looked at official tower footage. So that was that. So that answers that question because I'm really good at foreseeing your questions. Let me get this right here. This is really frustrating that I can't seem to get my comments to stay in the same spot from show to show. Lock. Let's see what happens. Good to see you, Martine, and Dave is here as well. Good to see you. Yes, Japan-Korea. That was a game at the World Cup where at the end of the game, at the end of the fourth quarter, Japan made a sub with about a minute and a half to go, if my recollection is on, and it may not be. And for some reason, they ended up with that extra person on the pitch. And you could see it. They earned a series of penalty corners at the end of the game, and you could see like 11 field players around the circle at that time, which is pretty bonkers when you think about what that spectacle would have ended up showing. And I don't like to use the word failure. It's simply a mistake. It is a mistake, and it's one that, you know, it's one of those attention things. And we all think that timing is really easy. And sorry, I'm just gonna get my teleprompter going again because it went off. We think timing is easy. We think, you know, tracking the rosters is easy, but it's such intensely detail-oriented work. And let's face it, not the sexiest job in the world. So our brains are not very good at focusing on those things. So this is not, you know, dragging or criticism or anything like that. At the same time, I don't want to minimize the fact that for 50 seconds, there was an extra player on the pitch. During that time, I showed you, I have in this little clip, this little spot. This was the only thing of consequence that happened during the 50 seconds is that Rayer got into the circle and took a shot that was blocked by Upton, and that was it. Otherwise, nothing material happened during those 50 seconds. So that's just something to know. It doesn't matter because we can't wind back the time. So if it had been detected, if somebody had spotted the 12th player running off the pitch and the TO messages the umpire using the reserve umpire's radios and gets the message in saying, hey, too many players at the next stoppage, card the captain, then they would do so. At this level, it's always going to be a 5-minute yellow card. You don't go to a green card for this. At this level, the players know. The teams are expected to be responsible. They have managers. They have there's a whole system in place that's supposed to prevent this stuff from happening. Okay. No, it's not a rant of the week. Just a thing. Yep. And we don't know exactly how it happened because a bib was down on the ground, but actually what I think happened is the player that should have been subbing off at that time, because they had been on for an extended shift, ran behind players, and then nobody gave her a bib, so she stayed on, and then the person that was supposed to give her a bib went on anyway. I think that's what happened. Let's see. Oh yeah, and when 4 or 5 or 6, they had at one time, they had all 6 of their subs ready to do an interchange. That I saw them lined up about a minute before this minute happened. So there you go. Dawn, say a team is found out to have played with more than at least 12 for an extended amount of time. Can the match result ever be challenged? No, not according to current FIH regulations and guidance and practice. I mean, if 13 minutes of a bronze medal game at a World Cup is not an extended period of time, I don't know what is. So, and that match result wasn't challengeable. It's just a technical error. What it raises for me is an interesting question about what is appealable. Because we know as umpires, or let me lead you through it, that as umpires, umpiring decisions that they make during the course of the match cannot be the subject of a team appeal. But there is a facility for team appeal for technical issues, like a scoreboard not working properly, or a player who is playing with an ineligible passport, or something like that happens. But I've yet to see ever an instance where a technical appeal has been lodged and it's been successful. So I actually don't know now. I mean, it's been decades. I've been part of this international scene for over 20 years now, and I have yet to see one succeed, and I don't know what the grounds would ever be. So it is an interesting point, I think, that needs to be further discussed, and maybe some guidelines set out the same way that we have a code of conduct at the FIH level that say this is a level 1 offense, this is a level 2, and they're general and things can move in between and all that sort of thing. And here are the recommended sanctions if one of those levels of the code of conduct is breached. Maybe we need something like that, because I'm pressed. If you think of something, let me know. If I've missed something, also let me know. So there you go. I always thought it was fair dues, as in D-U-E-S, that you're paying your dues and you've paid them fairly. So it's a fair due, not a due as in an action. It's interesting. English. Ideal world and all that. Absolutely. And Rupert is a sad Irish fan. I'm really sorry about that. You were well beaten on that day, and it didn't have much effect on the match at all. No, it didn't. It had no effect on the game. So that's just something to sort of keep in mind. Yeah, mistakes happening, all that kind of stuff. Look at the poll quickly. Let's see what you had to say. As always, it's the umpire's fault. And while we're at it, why haven't we solved world peace? That's 30% of you. Good work. because that is an excellent answer. Look, I didn't know what to put for poll answers. I was just like, I'm going to be a jerk. And apologies and proven for the future for 62% of you. It's the end of hockey. Yes. End hockey. Just end hockey. Publicly abused the entire officiating team, added by Simon Milford. And I like how you added it and didn't vote for it. Like, that's a statement in and of itself. Well done. Okay. Any other questions on that? Get them to me now. Let's just see if there's any other comments that I want to put up in here. Okay. I was just wondering because it just seems to be like, I've seen it really frequently, so I don't know. Maybe I'm on drugs. I'm here to learn. I mean, no, and not like that. I'm just, it's just I've seen it so often that I was like wondering, like, is that a phrase that I don't know the origin of, or it's an English thing, or like British thing? I don't know. There you go. Okay, excellent. Let's do an announcement. Okay, wait. Sorry, Chief Pedant is weighing in. So now I have to find, oh my gosh. I have to find this. Okay. Fair dues is something you say in order to tell someone you think is fair. Fair dues is about equally common, but has a different meaning. It can, see, this is what I need to learn. Akin to give him his due. Give him his fair dues. Huh. Okay. I think I'm going to have to learn more about this and check the etymology and such. All right. Oh yeah, announcements. Just really quickly. Let's break this up. I just want to congratulate Mr. Tim Hazelhurst for joining Green. Thank you very much for signing up and letting me know that my email automation sequence wasn't working. That's always fun. Hi, like it just turned off. It was like, oh, connection to your website? No, we don't need to do that. And we also don't need to tell Keely about it. So nobody was getting their emails for like 3 weeks. It just, you know, my life's great. It's just great. Anyway, thank you, Tim, for joining up. If you want to learn more about the FHU third team and be able to take advantage of great activities that we have for Green, especially access to the clip library and the watch parties, of which we had 41. Okay, we probably didn't have 41 watch. Yeah, we did have 41. No, we probably had 37 or 38 watch parties, and then I watched a few games on my own. But I watched 41 matches of the 80 matches that were available during the Olympic qualifier. Humble brag. And that's a lot of hockey to watch, with talking through things from an umpiring perspective, learning about stuff, hearing the gossip. The replays are coming. I just have a lot of editing to do to get the replays going, but they're coming. Join Green. Be awesome. Thank you very much. And oh, I'm just pressing buttons willy-nilly. Don't even know what's happening there. Okay. Goalkeepers and aerial interceptions. We're on topic 2 and it's not even half past.
Zhang immediately makes 30 meters, drives it out right, finds one who's going to lift this inside. It's wide open. Oh, that's going to be a stroke. It had to be David Hart going into the 5, and nobody there in phase 1. Penalty stroke.
That's clear.
Pretty easy decision.
Yep.
Well, he made the decision to go. And now it is Zhang who will come on. 4 goals in this.
Right. Give me your thoughts. Do you have questions about this play? So in this situation, this is a really rare sort of configuration for an aerial. For an aerial to come from deep, close to the back line, outside the circle, and then land inside the circle. I'm not talking to you, S-Watch. And it lands inside the circle and that close to the goalkeeper, and that player is open-ish. And I'm here to talk about how much of an intended receiver you believe the Korean attacker was in this situation. This is hella rare. I don't think I've ever seen this before, to be honest. So what we're looking for here is that as the ball is in travel, we have this briefing guideline that at 20 meters before its landing point, its reception area, I'm correcting my own language here, that's when we would determine whether there is an initial receiver. Given that this ball travels about 20 meters in total, it's pretty much from takeoff. It has to be. So the question is really, at takeoff, at the passing point, is there initial receiver? And if you're satisfied with that, then you have to look at the attempted interception. Would you deem this to be a legal attempted interception? Was it outside of playing distance and outside of danger? And it wasn't dangerous? Words. And if not, and it's a foul, then you apply the reckless as to the result / intentional reasoning. Let's see. We've missed your dancing, Godders. We have definitely missed your dancing. I don't understand why my comments are bungled every time. For Stain, that was not a safe interception, and you don't believe he had 5 to start with. And what do you mean? Do you mean that you don't think the Korean attacker was the initial receiver? So one of the things that we're looking at when we're making this decision is not that they have to have a 5-meter disc painted around them in which no other player is occupying at the time that the ball is being launched. There's more nuance to that. There is the trajectory of the ball. Is it coming in low? Is it coming in high? And if we, let's see, I feel like I'm going to knock everything over on my desk. And that's because I have too many things on my desk. And I'm just a little. So this might be a pretty good view here. Okay, at this point, we would need to make the determination. This ball is going to come, and it's going to land. Let me get a better color so it stands out more. Let's try this color. Okay, so it's sort of coming here-ish, and we need to determine whether this player is the initial receiver, and you're somewhat looking for 5 meters here. Oh, hi. There's my diagram. Now, is it mathematically fully 5 meters? Is this player in a clear space to receive the ball at the time? And I think you can certainly argue that the answer is yes. And that's certainly the conclusion that Ben came to at the time. Let's see. A good Morena to you, Jolt. Simon, you're comfortable with the penalty stroke. How was there nobody marking that player? That's probably what Davey was thinking. And if you think he'd run straight out and intercepted, he would have been fine, but he went towards. Exactly. So he actually wasn't at a bad angle to try that. I've spoken quite frequently about how if players who are attempting interception cut perpendicularly, they go 90 degrees to the trajectory that the ball is falling, whatever the case might be. Instead of running along the trajectory of the ball and waiting for it to land into them, if they're cutting that off, they're going to have a shot at that outside of playable distance, even if it's within 5. So yes, instead of running towards that, but of course what makes that more difficult is that the trajectory of the ball here is quite loopy. It's very high. So could the goalkeeper have actually made contact with the ball if he had cut it off at a sooner in its trajectory? And that's the calculation that I'm sure he was trying to make and figure out whether he could actually reach it, and obviously decided he couldn't. So there you go. But you've got lots of light between player and goalkeeper. Safe and successful interception. Archie, he literally, his blockers literally hit the Korean's stick. How can that be a safe and successful interception? That's playable distance. He's literally able to play the ball there. That's in the playable distance. So no, this is not a legal interception. No. Frank, so I'm interested in those of you looking. Most people are on board with that this is a foul, and it's a foul against the attacker. So what makes this a penalty stroke as opposed to a penalty corner? And if you live in the land of Dutch, then for some reason there's a briefing from the KNHB saying this is never to be called as a penalty stroke, which makes zero sense to anybody who is not there and who didn't make that weird dicta. Who knows? Mike, the ball is going over the Korean player's head, so Ireland goalkeeper would have been eliminated by the flight of the ball. Yeah, and look, I'm not a world renowned, one of the best out there goalkeepers. So if he had, it's not that if he had stayed still, but if he can't cut through the space, cut through the trajectory of the ball, and still be able to reach the ball, because at that point it would be too high. Like that's obviously a decision that should have been made. Voodoo, it's a difficult one. You say the Korean is the first receive, so the goalkeeper is coming in his space, penalty corner. So why? Let's talk about why this is reckless as to the result. And Maritz is wondering the same thing. Mike is going to take this one because the goalkeeper entered the playing distance of the Korean player whilst knowing the Korean player was there. We deem this to be an intentional action, hence the penalty stroke. Yes. So when a player who is attempting an interception does so with their best hope and maybe fails, so they go for that interception, like let's say Davey had cut a sharper line on the ball, stayed outside of playing distance, and maybe got a stick on the ball but messed it up and interfered with the reception of the initial receiver. You would say that that is not an intentional foul, because what he was trying to do his best at was actually intercept the ball. But when you see the player and you are going into a space and you're coming from an angle where you can see that player, you know that if you are not outside of playing distance or it's unsafe, that you are then reckless as to the result of breaking down play. And when you do that inside the circle, it's a penalty stroke. End of story. If a player, if two field players had done that outside the circle, had been in the same situation, it's a penalty corner. If they had done it between the 23s, I would expect to see a card. And we did have an aerial card, I think, recently. Did I find it? Rachel, you're happy there's an initial receive. The goalkeeper makes the interception. Too close. It's a player who's likely to have possession of the ball. Yes. So yes, it is. It fulfills that. And Martin, you had this exact situation in UHCO last year. There you go. And I'm sure you called a stroke, and I'm sure your umpire manager was so happy with you. There you go. It's about whether they've got possession or likely to gain possession of that ball. Yep. And there you go. Dutch and The Dutch briefing will be corrected, I'm absolutely certain, in short order. Impact denied the possession. Yep. You were making an argument, Mike, there being no initial receiver because the goalkeeper had to move physically into the reception area. Interesting one. There you go. Samantha, you have a question. We know he did it on purpose. Why no card? You've always been confused with that. Ha! Well, I have a course for that. It's called the control elevator. Does this work? It's live! The control elevator course. And in it, I talk about the difference between when you add the personal penalty to a team penalty upgrade. It is just because it's intentional doesn't make it a card inside the circle because we have an extra hammer. So we don't necessarily, we could in some circumstances, but we don't necessarily have to card this. And if you're around umpires who are saying this, they've got it wrong. So there's an RDI framework that we use with repetition, danger, and impact. But because we have the team penalty, which especially in this case is a very big team penalty, it is a quite sure goal in getting awarded the penalty stroke, and they do score in this situation, that it's the first instance, it's not particularly dangerous, and the impact on the game is, yes, it's impactful, but it's not something extra you're like, man, but we actually really need Davey Hart to sit down for 2, 5, 10 minutes. No. Not in this case. Okay. Can you be considered an initial receiver if you can only receive the ball 50 centimeters above your head? I'm not sure I understand Urian. Yeah. Only 50 centimeters, because 50 centimeters is like this? Yeah, I don't know what that means. Let's see what the poll results are. Penalty stroke, 82% of you are there. Some of you want a free hit defense. Goalkeepers are special and may do so. Add by Martin. Excellent. Goalkeepers are infallible. Added by Simon Dolby. Look, repetitive write-in votes. Come on, get it together. Okay. Let's look at the other.
Zhang immediately makes 30 meters, drives it out right, finds one who's going to lift this inside. It's wide open.
This is it.
This is PC
This
number
is not
5.
it. I did this.
Today on the second
Oh,
battery.
I'm mad. I'm mad. Okay, hang on. Hi. We're going to go to this screen, and I'm going to do something called going into preview mode. And I am going to fix this because it's annoying. It shouldn't have happened. I tested. Let's try this. And hold the phone. This. And it's going to go like this. Yeah. Okay, we ready?
The pleasure of being pitch side for both. This came in London. To the corner. Oh, that's a lovely takedown. Nellen, and it's in. And Belgium have the opening goal. And Barbara Nellen sneaking in front. The aerial ball into the circle. Great Britain aren't going to review it. Goal of her career.
The high ball into the circle, and then super well played of Nellen with her backhand.
Particular.
Webb again clearing.
So this is from the
that
highlight
was where it
package.
was so difficult. No man's land essentially, and Nellen came in and just clipped it home on the reverse. So awkward, 1-0.
Okay, and then yes, I have this slow-mo for us. I have slow-mo for us so that you can really have a deep look. So you've got a GB player who is jumping in order to try to receive the ball. Fails. And the loop of this ball is exceptionally high. It is like, it's coming down at a very sharp angle, there's the point of contact with the stick of the player who did receive the ball and then scored the goal. Okay. And I slowed down the reverse angle for you, the behind the goal angle as well, because that angle is closer. It's the other side of the triangle, but it's the closer angle to where the umpire likely would have been watching this play. Okay, so if I add this, and so the question is, can a ball that is closer to your head, can you still be deemed the initial receiver? Yes. If you are the player who's in the space where the ball can be received, then you are the initial receiver, and it's up to your skill level to be able to receive it. I don't know how that has bearing on other decisions that need to be made as to whether an interception can be made or anything like that. So, I mean, you could be the initial receiver and the ball is coming chest height, because at that point it's dropping and it could be chest height, and still needs the aerial ball rules still need to be regarded at that point. You can be an initial receiver when your stick is above your head and it's, you know, let's say your arm a meter long. My arm isn't a meter long, I don't think, but what if it is? And you're receiving the ball 1.5 meters above your head. Are you still the initial receiver? You can be. It depends on where everybody else is. So I'm still confused as to the nature of the question. Mike, you love this as a goal, but you think Hesh is close enough to swing her stick at that ball, but she's a goalkeeper and doesn't. Simon Milford, the ball's into clear space, no clear initial receiver play on. And this one is a tighter amount of space than even in the last situation, because there's a player in front and a player behind. Defender in front, goalkeeper behind. And this is exactly that slice across the space, slice across the trajectory of the ball, which again is why this is able to work. And at the time that it gets received, it's actually not, it's not at a height where you would really consider players to require a lot of protection from the danger rules. This is a very nuanced situation that every hockey person, except maybe GB fans, would be like, this is an amazing goal. And this is what hockey should be able to do. We should not be interfering with this. And this is why we are trending more and more to the aerial rules continually being stepped back in favor of basically just danger decisions. But we're not there yet. We're not entirely in that space. It's about teaching the entire community what we expect from players. How do they play responsibly towards each other? And they're not always there. So for Rupert, either there's no clear receiver or White has run a perpendicular line and made a great interception play on for both. If there's no clear receiver, then you would go the other way. You would award a free hit defense. So it's not play on for both. Those are two different things. If Hesh had been out quicker, yep, and at the same spot as the attacker when they played the ball, then free hit defense. And in fact, not just arriving at that point, but she'd have to get there sooner, right? Because we're looking at that 20 meters. And again, the whole idea of these shorter aerials makes it really hard to call and really hard for players to understand when and where they can step in. But is that playing distance? Is it unsafe? I don't believe it is. Frank has a goal. The goalkeeper is the initial receiver. Yeah. The defender in front is not the initial receiver because she can't receive the ball. It's too high. Joel, you're happier with the interception reception. Your only thought is that the race shot on goal is dangerous. Oh, you mean the actual shot on goal? Is it dangerous? And I mean, it's good to think about it. It's good to go through that process and make sure, like, oh, I'm okay with that. But the players are moving into the empty net. They were not there in the first place. And even if they were, that's, the goalkeeper is out of position. The goalkeeper is beat. And they are attempting to make a save. They are not attempting to dispossess or mark or do field player things. They are attempting to tend to the goal as a goal tender. Very ice hockey way of saying it. First contact outside of playing distance. So, yeah. So you think it's a safe and legal interception? Excellent. I need to go back to live mode. No clear receiver because dropping into space. Okay. I see what you mean. That's fine. And no danger from shot for Simon. There's no LEA. But it's all right. Yeah. Tight but safe. Toy. Mike, the playing distance is what you're torn on. Yeah, because it's a goalkeeper with a stick gripped halfway up. Yeah, I think just minute little changes in how this was played would have resulted in a completely different situation. Goddard's goal, defender is not a receiver. Interception is clear. Keeper, great skill. Okay. Maybe they weren't showing up before, but they are now. Because I hadn't pressed publish. Because they look like they're on now. Did I fix it? Poll. And, oh my gosh. Unanimity wins again. Wait, where's my... I don't have a celebratory... We did it. Congratulations, friends. That's not the one I expected that we'd ever be able to come to a unanimous conclusion on. That's for sure. Okay. More announcements. I just want to congratulate these fine folks. Don Cromwelin's going to under 25. Joep van Dijk is... I was practicing last night. Joep is going to under 14s. Tom Driesen is going to under 14s. Oh, wait. I have my phonetic. Driesen is going to under 14s. Martin van Kekkum is going to under 16s. Uyghur May is going to under 16s. And Tish Stroopwafel. Okay, he's not a Stroopwafel. But that's what his name says on Discord. So I get to call him Tish Stroopwafel. I messaged him to ask what his last name was, and he didn't get back to me. That's good to know. Anyway, really proud of these individuals. Not all of them are Yellow members, but many of them are. And just so nice to see a big representation of the FHU 13 at the Dutch Indoor. Make us proud and have fun. Okay? I'm very, very happy for y'all. All right. Let's boogie. Playing ball into the goal with the body. This should be pretty quick.
One picks it up, plays it quickly, goes the 5, plays
I'll
it
come back to
inside,
your
it's
comment,
come
Tom.
across.
Nice to see you here, by the way.
Brilliant work there by Madley to not let it hit his foot. Danger! Oh, I think that's a goal! That is I can't believe what we've just seen, Nicky.
I say the ball is coming up from the keeper onto the body, maybe a penalty corner. Can you have a look if I have to avoid a goal?
Okay, so we're looking for the action just in front of the circle, in front of the goal, and whether it's a goal or not.
Yes,
The
please.
ball across the goal. Here it is.
This is very sad,
A
Tom.
crazy decision.
He is very
Lifted.
famous.
It's a shot on goal though, so it can't be dangerous, surely. It
Surely,
can be,
says Tyrone.
but it bubbles, it goes through. It then hits hard, it bubbles through his legs and in.
So what I want you to think about in this
The
situation,
back of the body.
it's one issue that, you know, it would have been very difficult to see in the first instance. Ben was absolutely spot on to think with his instincts about something's weird about this, and I can tell by the authentic player reaction that there's something I need to check. And he does so.
It does come off of hard
The ball
into the body,
is
and that's
played
how it deflects
into
in.
the goal with the attacker's body.
Lee Nam Yong
It's
came back
we,
on.
we can see it on that
Played very few minutes in
side
this
angle
game.
there.
Comes on and almost impacts. Of course, it was Lee Nam Yong
I was
who
close,
eliminated
wasn't I?
Ireland in the
I
qualifying
tried
final in
very hard.
2012 with a last-minute
Lost
goal
it.
to win 3-2. Dave Thomas just making 100% sure of this.
And it is the best over there.
Can I say I don't understand the decision to go that way as
Absolutely.
defender to throw the ball away.
But now I want you to
Yeah, I'm
listen
not
to
sure.
what
Mind
the
blown.
result is.
I think he just lost everything for a second.
Because for me, now there's a question as to whether the result of this should be a penalty corner because the ball was played dangerously at the attacker from the save, or is it a free hit defense because the attacker
Ben,
used
I have
their
advice for
body?
you.
Yeah.
The ball has hit the attacker's body off the goalkeeper, so you can restart with a penalty corner, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Penalty corner.
Goalkeeper.
Okay, so Simon absolutely pointing out. Oops. This is very true, but why is that played dangerously by the goalkeeper? Okay, why is the goalkeeper penalized for this play? Thank you. Okay, I'm waiting for all this. You're a goalkeeper. A shot has been taken from an attacker. Okay. The ball goes off the attacker's stick. It's not played danger. Oh, wait. No, so the defender it looks weird because the defender's trying to clear the ball across the goal. The ball goes off the attacker's stick into the goalkeeper's chest, and then it goes into the Korean player's body, into that same attacker's body. Who is creating the danger? I'm waiting. I want to see somebody chime in. He became responsible for the ball when he hit it. Okay, that's one way to look at it, but is there not another way when you look at goalkeeper actions? What else could the goalkeeper do here? He had an attacker right in front of him within 50 centimeters or less of him. He did not play the ball higher. He didn't play it with any excess speed. All he did was play the ball down. And it hit the Korean player basically on his butt. Who's creating the danger? Tom, the attacker saw Davy Hart score with his behind earlier, so he wanted to copy him. Yeah, I mean, there was a few things to those. Exam prep excuses, I like it. Why? Why? If I'm an attacker and my teammate takes a shot and I go rushing at the goalkeeper and I am within centimeters of that goalkeeper and the shot goes into the goalkeeper high and then it rebounds into me, how can the goalkeeper be held responsible for that? Logic would say the attacker brought up the ball up high, but it's an attempt on goal. Yeah, which is fine, but you would have said the attacker is causing the danger. Absolutely. The attacker is causing the danger here. The attacker plays the ball with their body because they are too close for the rebound. And that's it. And this happens all the time. If an attacker dives down onto the ground and the ball gets played into them off the rebound, they're the ones responsible for that. If this had been in midfield or not, the goal... Sorry. Let's try this again, Godders. If this had been in midfield or not at the goal, it would be a free hit against red for danger. It's not about the shot part. Okay, it's not about the shot part. It's about the next part. This isn't dangerous, whereas the LEA, free hit defense. They're just, you just can't penalize a goalkeeper for safely playing the ball and an attacker being that close. Okay. It simply bounced off him. Absolutely. Leads to dangerous play. But what else can they do? Adam? Like, there's... right? Why is this... This is interesting. I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised that not a lot of people are jumping on this bandwagon. Go change your poll votes, because this is a very good argument. You don't agree that it automatically becomes danger when back off the goalie, but sadly that's the way the cookie crumbles. No, I don't agree with incorrect calls. That's not sad. That's an incorrect call. Archie, you don't believe that the goalkeeper even played it. You let it deflect off his chest. Player creates a danger. There you go. Okay. Where are we? Is this... Yeah, the green are defenders. Yes. Is everybody clear on that? Because otherwise... It's weird because of what the... Because the Irish defender is like, I'm going to smoke this over to the far sideline. It's a weird configuration of bodies. Weird body shapes. And the Korean player is the attacker. Where's the poll? It's in Discord. So if you scroll up the chat, let's see if I go here. So this, and it gives you a link. It's in the server, and you can go to the poll and you can vote there. I have to do it this way because YouTube polls only give you 4 options, and we have so much more to talk about. There are so many more options than that. Oh, is that why? Is that why nobody else thought? Hi. I think you're new. Dupré. I'm gonna call you Dupré-D. Can I? I hope that's okay, because I like saying things French. Danger is created by the attacker with his deflection. Goalkeeper saves the ball downward without adding force. In an ideal world, it's defender ball, but maybe the question should be what the umpires... It doesn't matter. The video umpire can come up with their conclusion, but I think because everybody's body shapes were weird, that's what led it to become a penalty corner, and everybody was just kind of like, oh yeah, okay. At least it's not a goal. Simon, you gave a similar decision years ago. Close range shot into goalkeeper, bounced back to a very close attacker, so give a free hit defense. It got ripped apart by the umpire coach after the game. Well, I have feelings about such things. Where would we draw the line of a high dangerous balls coming off a goalkeeper that are brought up by the attack, distance in the air, proximity, etc.? Yes, all those things. All those things matter. Every one of them. Distance, proximity, where is the player facing? How much distance is there around them? What's the skill level of the players? All the things that we usually take into account when we determine danger would need to be taken account here. Thank you. If the bounce off the goalkeeper goes upwards because of the trajectory and into a group of players, how does that track with this logic? Because the goalkeeper is responsible for not adding to the shot. He does everything he can. This is not, you know, he doesn't use his blocker and play the ball up and out. If a goalkeeper decides that they're going to add extra height to a shot, they have to do so safely, right? But how do you hold a goalkeeper responsible for just making a good, reasonable, safe save? You don't. And you found it. Okay. Let's look at the poll. Let's see where you're at. Did you know that you can change your votes in polls? You can. Right. Well, I got 6 of you. I got 6 of you on side. In my heart of hearts. In my heart of hearts. As soon as it happened in the game, I was like, wait, no, it's supposed to be... What did he do wrong? No, that's not... Adding extra height. Okay, look, I mean, you can change the hypotheticals and we can go back and forth about that. But goalkeepers are responsible for doing what they can to play the ball safely. And he does that in this case. For the field player, stopping, deflecting, or moving the ball with the stick. Can't find it for the goalkeeper. Look in section 10 and come back to me. And then we'll talk about why everything is weird when it comes to this. And it has to do with the rules not being looked at in a full picture. Potentially, yes. But, okay, Mike, let's take this into the server because I'm right. Here's our skill session. Ball placement communication. Okay, so something that I've been noticing over the last while with the top level umpires is some of them are excellent at managing ball placement. And we're talking about when an umpire is called a free hit and perhaps the ball was moved off into space a little bit, it's rolled away, or it hasn't done so yet, or you can sense from the player's body language that the attackers are going to perhaps not know exactly where that free hit should be taken from. And there's 2 aspects to this that I want to highlight that you can consider adding to your free hit repertoire, your drill, as it were, when you're calling free hits. We talked last week about holding the whistle in your mouth and why that is advantageous in some situations. Adjunct to this, related to this concept, is that after you've called a free hit, I watched umpires very carefully over the last 2 weeks. And those who blow a free hit and then their whistle is attached to their hand. And they have a whistle hand. And either they have a lanyard wrapped around it or they just have a hidden magnet inside their finger pads. And they whistle and they bring their whistle down from their mouth immediately. They are then slower to be able to inform the players of ball placement issues. And what can happen is they start using their words in order to try to communicate what they need. But the players aren't at that moment listening for words. You have to cue players to say, I'm about to tell you something. It's going to be really important. And we do so by the double tweet, right? This is especially crucial at international levels where players aren't understanding your English right off the bat. And you need to keep things very simple. And sometimes you're eschewing words altogether and you're only using your signals and your gestures. But umpires who are willing, excuse me, umpires who are willing to whistle, leave their whistle in their mouth and immediately double tweet there, are able to get the player's attention and they might double tweet, and then they might pull their whistle out and say, gang, I need it over here. Or they leave their whistle in their mouth and they use their gestures to show exactly where they want it. But it's that secondary double whistle that gets the player's attention. Oh, something different is happening here. It's not just a free hit. It's not a corner. It's not a whatever. It's a, I'm about to message you. It's the ping on your phone. It goes ping. Everybody listen up. There. And I saw Michael Otten do this very frequently in Valencia. He was very much of that habit. I've noticed that Koen van Bunge does it very much. I watched Cookie Tan do this in Ranchi as well, and she would blow and she would use these like really big arm signals to say, here, in line with this. So she'd double whistle and her whistle would still be in her mouth, and she would be showing, I need you in line here. And she'd use big arm gestures that you can use if you don't have your whistle in your hand. So consider whether a good habit to try or a good technique to try in cases where the ball is springing away or there could be confusion about where the free hit needs to be taken from, that you keep the whistle in your mouth, you blow, and you blow quickly again with the double tweet, especially in cases where the ball is, say, around the circle inside the 5-meter dash, and you don't want any confusion, you don't want restarts, you don't want to take away from the attack by having to reset and restart the free hit again because they took it from the wrong spot. Consider, I have run-on sentences with many commas, don't I? Consider if being able to double whistle and communicate that ball placement right away, getting the player's attention, is going to help you improve the flow of the matches that you are umpiring. Let's see if you have any comments on that. There you go. Everybody's changed. Yes. Okay. So this is something here. And it's really pertinent in international matches. And, you know, Mike got his first experiences with teams of players who aren't, who don't necessarily speak English as their first language. But it's not irrelevant for your local competition at all. Because you can be drowned out. You can be muttering words. When we are in comfortable situations where we're used to people, you know, we know the players, this is our home base, all that kind of stuff, we tend to slide into that familiarity, and we sometimes can get overly verbose and utter long paragraphs of instructions to players who honestly have no F's to give in their buckets because they're busy trying to play. You need 3 words. You need to figure out how you can make your communication as concise as possible in every situation because it's better for the players. And then you can have little side conversations and jokes with the people that you know and you like. You know, super cash, do your thing, be personable in those situations later. But when it comes to trying to create flow in matches, which is always better for better hockey, there you go. And let's see. Godders? Agree. Inga, never start vocals if you're correcting players in terms of where to take the ball. The whistle will, yes, you have to introduce, you have to cue them. And if you're consistent, if you do this every time, the players are like, oh, double whistle from Keely means about to talk. Double whistle from umpires means they're about to talk. And they're going to tell me something important that I need to know. So think about how you can be more effective by being consistent, by always, hey, here, 10 back. I don't know, something. But keep it short, keep it concise, and use your whistle to get their attention first. Yep. And Rupert, yeah, I mean, you're basically speaking a second language now for the environment you're in. Rupert is Irish and is umpiring in America, and it's different. It's different there. Wide and white sounds very similar. Absolutely. Absolutely. Covered by Hannah in the EH session. Know how far your voice will carry and use your whistle more as more than your voice. Yep. There you go. Okay. That's our skill session for this week. I hope you enjoy these little interludes. And my goal is to take this and make it like a nice little like short and package. And I've been accumulating the B-roll that I can use to support this. So I have like getting that together, but I can't get it all together in time for the live stream because it's complicated. And we're going to our next topic, shoot out video referral for obstruction.
the Indian captain.
This is the semi-final. I think I labeled it the finals. No, I did label it the semi-final. Good.
Oh, diving! And it's gone over the line. It will be checked. The umpire is going to do a self-referral. She wants to make sure this is right.
Can you check if there was any interference in the goalkeeper here, please, by the attacker?
Okay. This is a huge call, and I think really great to see a referral here. Sonia Zimmerman, Savita saves it at the first time of asking, but then she comes through. For me, there is nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's a stick tackle. I think Sonia Zimmerman has just sent her team to the Olympics.
There was a foul on the goalkeeper, so you can restart with a free hit out. And
that's a biggie.
Okay, really good point there, Simon, because your habit is very much just to shout. You do a lot of shouting, and I mean, I'm a defender, did a lot of shouting, instructing players where to go and what to do historically, so it's a habit that you have to develop for sure. It's fog. Often they have fireworks, but this is at the end of the game, so there were no fireworks at this point, and yes, it was just a really foggy night in Ranchi. Apparently it's been a bad winter because it was only 12 degrees. I have feelings. So the obstructions against the weather, yeah, it's a tough thing to see, but when you see it from the angle at which Amber, as the controlling umpire, probably was standing at, you can see as the attacker is reaching for the ball, her right arm comes out and actually knocks the defender, the goalkeeper, back further and makes it harder for her to use her stick in order to reach behind her and grab the ball. That's what I see. Okay. I'll just let you roll through this if there's any question about this, but I wanted you to see. And this is why it's important to be able to use your second umpire, your supporting umpire here too, because they may have a better angle to see this as well. And remember, it's a shootout and it's stop time situation. The ball's in the goal, so you can call the goal and then you could do a stop time signal, and then you could go to your colleague and have a private conversation if you didn't want to shout across the 7 meters away that you are. Just horrifying. The umpire was really smart there. She knows she has her own referral, and there you go, and asked if she'd given a free out and actually been a goal, it couldn't be awarded. Not true, actually. It works the other way. She could give the free out and say, can you make sure that I shouldn't have awarded a goal? Because she can do that afterwards, because the referral is about a goal. I was mistaken about that a few years ago, and I've now since talked to a few people and gotten straightened out about it. Because it's about the awarding of a goal. It doesn't have to be that a goal was awarded and then you challenge it. It just, for a lot of situations, just feels a little bit better to do it that way. The danger is, though, is that if there's no advice possible because all the cameras turn off or we don't have the right angle to see something, you have to go with the decision that you actually feel in the moment. So you shouldn't call something just because you think they shouldn't call something. We don't have to deal with this. They shouldn't call something just because they have a referral that they can rely upon. They need to make the best decision that they can in that moment. And in that case, Simon, I would say, with a possible backstick by the goalkeeper, is that would have been caused by the fact she's got an attacker who has jumped on her. So what causes the next thing? What's the first thing? Goal can only be given if the original whistle was after the ball crossed the line, right? Yeah, I mean, that certainly is part of it, but that isn't the problem. That's a different situation, and that's not the situation that we have in front of us. The ball has crossed the goal line, and she makes the goal signal. But the ball could cross the goal line, and she calls the free hit out at the same moment, because it was all contemporaneous. Yeah, the umpire was faster. And they'll do that. They'll ignore. They'll be like, no, you don't have to take this right now. You don't have to take this team referral. I'm gonna help you out. And I think some players understand that that's a safer option. Some players think, oh, you're taking the control away from me because I have a very specific question. Well, they're looking at the situation. Okay, I'll have a quick look at the polls to see where we're at. And yes, 93% of you. One person says the goal stands. Go fix your vote. Come on. Get on top of it. Just kidding. A couple of video referrals for serious misconduct.
On the right goes to Sam Ward. Ward looking for the deflection, and Shipley's just shoveled it past.
Ward's been hit on the run through by the looks of it. Really difficult, because if you've got a number one runner coming hard, Wallace injects dead straight. Ward's come through it, and it looks like he's just taken a whack on the way. Yeah, the number one runner stumbled, just caught him with his stick on the way through.
Yeah, there's nothing malicious in this. He turns his back and just trips over his own feet, doesn't he?
But she can wait and call the free hit out.
Here we see it. So he's just trying
to wait for the ball to go across the line, and then call the free
hit
hit.
Absolutely, but it's completely accidental because the player is falling over as he's hit him. So
I
to
hope
me,
that makes sense.
And not looking at it.
The player's he's turned there, he's just tripped over. There is nothing in the middle of that should be a penalty corner.
The hands have gone up, haven't they, to try and balance himself. He sticks the hands out here to try and balance himself. But his
feet have gone.
It would be kind of be interesting though, Rachel, because it's possible
both
that
ankles have rolled over.
If nothing
Sam Ward's
changes,
been hit, but even then the whole player's gone. He's been caught with
and
the stick. That's
the ball
problem.
was
So
going
the stick
across the
seems
line.
to be
She
high. He
blows
potentially
the
feels that he's been
whistle
given a
just
right whack
before it
around
crosses
his
the
kneecap.
line. Could say, well, nothing changed about it. So there you go. It's a little bit fuzzy. So it was interesting. We did have a couple of referrals there in Oman, and and we have the second one that's coming up from Valencia. But it was interesting because it was the match 13 match 11 in Oman. I don't know why that sticks in my mind instead of the teams, because it'd be very useful to remember the exact game. But the commentating team was unaware that the video umpire protocols had changed at the time. And so Tyler was taking a self-referral for a serious misconduct, which ended up being only a 5-minute yellow card. And the commentators were saying, no, you can't do that. You can only refer for penalty strokes and goals as a self-referral for an umpire. And it just led me to understand that not everybody watches What Up Wednesday. Made me very sad. My teleprompter is really misbehaving today. But anyway, this one I don't have a ton to contribute on, other than the fact that those collisions at the top of the circle with the on-rushing defenders, the runners, the flyers, whatever they're called in your area, but the front-running defender and colliding with the drag flicker, they're happening more and more at the top levels, and I'm not sure if you're seeing them a lot at your levels, because the speeds are a little bit different and a little bit lower in the commitment level. Hopefully is also just not quite as we're gonna go full bore and collide with people, but it can happen, and it makes it very difficult to see. Understand that even if in this situation it looks as though that the Chinese defender was slipping and maybe tripping at the time, as he was turning, both his ankles sort of slid, so he really didn't have control of his body in this moment. But there's still an element of recklessness, and players are still charged with behaving responsibly towards each other. And if you're going at such a pace and taking such a line that you can't stop yourself, even though you're not planning to run into this player, but if you do and then you injure that player, there could be, depending on all of the circumstances, an argument to be made that you were reckless in that run. Now, could that be worthy of a yellow card in that situation? Who knows? Less likely because of the lack of, that you were trying to take care and then you didn't because you tripped. But the line of the player here might have been one of the factors that was persuasive to the video umpires to why this ended up being a serious misconduct. Do I personally agree with this decision? No, and I don't think many people do. But it was the GB New Zealand match in match 11. Unlock that. Yeah, bit of a nothing burger, but it's not super easy. Tom, I'll come back to your question later. I think there was something else that caused the penalty corner to be awarded in the first place anyway, and the ball long gone, so it wasn't a sliding tackle. No, it wasn't about a it wasn't whether it was a slide. It was just misconduct. And so the corner had already been awarded anyway. It was just about if something else needed to be done, and that was the subject of the self-referral.
It remains 20 seconds.
I need to do this part.
Hard. And, well, there's some
so this is Valencia.
There. Tackles are getting more and more physical. Not too busy chatting.
Come here.
The Huta has gone and Ben Duncan will
My umpire referred for misconduct in front of the goal by number 6. Can you have a look of a serious misconduct? If it's a yellow or red card, please stick between the.
And of course.
So Ben is very specific there in mentioning not just leaving it there, but saying, look, the ball hadn't even come yet. And Ben needs another look, needs another 14 sets of eyes from all the cameras to look at this particular situation. Yeah, this game again. Some games just have lots of stuff going on in them.
There is a moment there. Let us see if we can see it play out here. Got to watch in the middle of your screen there, Lee Nam-yong. Close to Davey Hart. His stick is there. Does he lift it dangerously?
Ben is definitely not happy. No, he's not
to be honest,
happy
this is how you play when it's an intense game and it's defender versus attacker, right?
But it adds to the drama because it means that this quarter break where the coaches are talking is just getting longer.
Yeah.
It's tough to make a call based on camera angles of being able to see.
It was a lengthy referral. I even took a couple segments out, but it did take a long time to work through it.
And it's only two. Let's listen.
Ben,
yes.
There has been some misconduct by number 6. It is very difficult to tell with the angles exactly how deliberate. Recommend a 10-minute yellow card.
Yeah, agree. Thank you very much.
It's a yellow card for Lee Nam-yong, and it is a 10-minute.
So that's a really good question, Tom. Tom asking here, when does this constitute a red? better angles or different action. I think it's a combination of a few things. And it's very close. We talk a lot about red cards needing to have that element of violence, that it's not hockey. It's not part of a hockey action. That doesn't necessarily mean that the let me just make sure that's not somebody telling me. No, okay. It's not necessarily that the ball is nowhere near it. That's a good indication that not hockey is happening when the ball is nowhere there. But you can do not hockey things when the ball is right there. For example, a player who's dribbling and feels a defender coming behind them, takes their stick off the ball and clips them in the face by flicking their stick up backwards. That's not hockey. There's nothing about that that needed to happen in a hockey sense. That is a red card. Okay? And in this situation, you have players who are jostling, and the jostling and having the stick and pushing and things like that, that could constitute a yellow on its own. But before the ball has arrived, or even as the ball's arriving, if there's that extra, like using the stick against a player to actually hit them, not to push them, not to try to gain some space, but to actually hit them, that's not hockey. So that could be a red. And what Tomo's saying there is that he doesn't have a good enough view to really see how much force is put behind it in order to determine then how not hockey that is. So went with the 10-minute yellow card. What's interesting about that whole passage of play as well is that, you know, you could hear when we were listening to the in real life footage, there was a lot of shouting, and there was, you know, you could feel the temper in the game. And the umpires had tried to separate players, like, hey, you two, stop doing that sort of thing. And that's why I say over and over again that red card incidences, which this could have been or maybe not, we don't know, hard to see, but they don't come out of nothing. They come out of something. And it was all of the pushing. There was about 3 sets of players there who were all having a great time nudging each other around and saying hello and getting up in each other's grills. So that combined with, you know, the intensity of the end of the quarter and all that sort of thing, that all amounts to what we see here. And when you've got those situations and when you're thinking about your management, we talk about this in the control elevator course, think about, were there actions you could have taken earlier in the game in order to mitigate this situation? If you had been more apt to give the cards earlier in the game, could that have sent the message to the players that you are looking after things? They do not have to look after it for themselves. You will keep them safe, you will address the transgressors, and you will remove them from the pitch and readmit them after they've had some time to think about what they've done. And if you're in that situation, evaluate and self-analyze your management interventions and the timing of those are in the game. I'm not saying that there could have been anything else done in this particular game. That's not what I'm saying. It's an illustration. Okay. And yeah, it was the third. Yeah, they had been warned. They had been talked to. It was not the first thing. Why is nobody complaining about the defender? Well, I mean, you can argue that there was something, you know, done there, and maybe there's, you know, normally for that kind of, you know, pushing and stuff, you would end up giving a green card at this point, but it's the retaliation that is needing to get addressed, I think. Yeah, we're going over, by the way. Okay, I'll have a look at the poll. Let's see. Was Ben's body language and voice a bit angry at the umpire? Angry. The umpires at this level often seem very calm, even when dealing with difficult decisions. Yeah, it was. It was. And I think in an ideal world, the umpire does their best to try to stay calm. I know personally that I mean, if you're not reacting a little bit to a player who could have stepped over a line into red card territory and endangered somebody on your pitch, and that doesn't evoke some more emotions in you than you would normally have, then you might be a little dead inside. I take the safety of the players on my pitch very seriously. And I get really mad when, inside, when players do stupid stuff. So I can understand where that sort of came from in the moment. And yes, would we like him to maybe slow his roll a little bit? That's an approach too. But he has a personality. He's not just a robot, and he's showing that off in that moment. So I can understand. So for the first one, most people are going with a 5-minute yellow card on the GB China situation. And I think that's really fair because there is a reckless element to it. But I'm surprised that it's unanimous with that. I mean, well done, because most people are like, oh, well, nothing happened at all. But I think something did happen, but it's just about the degree of how reckless it was. And then for the second, most people are on board with a 10-minute yellow card, a few people with a 5, one person with a 5, and one person voting for red card. So I got it. Okay. Crowding the umpire. This is going to go a little faster now.
Woods allowed to
Because
run
we're
an
almost
awful long way.
at the end.
Can he pick the pass? Yes, he can. Here is Ingles trying to get it out from underneath his feet. Ingles, lovely skill once again, wins the penalty corner.
That stick in the middle of that, Great Britain will refer it straight away. I mean, if that's been given at the front of that against Salisbury.
Gone against Wallace. And this is what I mean, they've got to keep their cool here. Zach Wallace just needs to move away. Well, they've picked up a yellow card.
Have they picked up a green and a
No,
yellow?
I think
Albury has had his green upgraded. They're video referring the decision, but it's how that they've approached it.
Yep. Totally unnecessary from Great Britain. It's a bully.
So that's all completely legitimate. That is a stick.
So you can understand in
Steve Rogers
this
is behind
situation
him,
how
and you can see
difficult
why
that
he
call
thinks
would
it
be.
a foot, but there's still no excuse.
He's directly in line and directly behind
How
that
he was
defender,
approached.
and the ball angle and everything. He would have been shielded from it, and everything would have behaved as though it went off his foot, rather than a stick. It was a great pick. But we have a crowding situation here that
But Great Britain,
the umpire unfortunately
will be
has to deal
down
with. And you know,
to
when you're in these
10
big games, this is the
until
semi-final of the
4:15 on
Olympic
the clock.
qualifier. It determines whether one team automatically goes to Paris or not. It's a big deal. And it's the fourth quarter with 9 minutes left. And the game is, definitely not out of reach for New Zealand. It's still a contest. So having to deal with this situation and having to send a player off for crowding is not ideal. But it is very clear in the briefing that it has to be done. And it makes no sense whatsoever why the players lost their discipline in the situation. Adding to that is that the player who ends up getting picked as the one, and now David Ames was the captain on the day, and he wasn't on the pitch at the time that I can tell. I don't see him anywhere in the pictures and that sort of thing, so he may well have been on the bench. Albury he's part of the captainship group and unit, so he may well have been named as a responsible person at that time, alternate captain on the pitch, and so that's the person. But I think it was more because it was like 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm just like, I can maybe understand a second person, but now the third person you're going to go. And then he had words. You can see as he turns away, he has further words for the umpire. And that's when the yellow card comes out in that situation. Okay. Yeah, that is you know, a valid point for sure that we don't want to add, but I'd also be a little bit, unhappy also that I've already talked to these players. I'd be a little pissed that they didn't pay attention to me. Anyway, let me just get the comment in the right place. Edgar, no, we're not talking about that goal. There's nothing we can learn from that situation, so we're not talking about it. It was simply a mistake and a story. When you see two players at each other, you try to say something funny to make them aware that you've seen them. If it continues, you tell them you're not choosing. Both go off, so much nice space after that. Yeah, well, and they tried that. They tried that in this game. Did not work. So what are you supposed to do? Everybody gets a penalty. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah, emotion exists, but come on. I'm so tired of this excuse. I'm so tired of this excuse that in the heat of the moment, they have the referral. It's going to be given. It's very clear. This is a team that has apparently been working very hard on their discipline. This is a known, do not do this. Do not lose your discipline like this because we do not accept this situation. And then he goes off even more. Yeah, emotion exists, but you can't do it like this. And you have the ability to create new habits and new patterns of behavior that are constructive. And that's how you win games. It's called being better. So do it. Shouldn't he have warned them? No, because they know. They know. It's in the briefing. It's literally its own category in the FIH briefing. Do I have it here? No, I don't have the briefing stuff up and available. But it says green card, crowding the umpire. Oh, hi. That's my FaceTime camera. Do. Oh, bullshit. Sorry. That's just bullshit. Nope. And I mean, feel free to express your emotions, but this is the penalty for it. Too bad. Yeah, because they're allowed to. Because the umpires there do not step in and deal with it. Because money. And this is how you get football. Okay? The bullshit that we watch on those fields, the abuse that officials take, the abuse that fans spit out, it's all because we don't step in and deal with things before they get to that level. And if we don't uphold these standards incognito, then we are going to be football. And that sucks. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that part of the game. Except for the people who make money from things being hot and contested. Viral moments. Congratulations. He's got to deal with the first things first. And he's not going to be refusing the referral. But he has to deal with first things first. And that's the whole reason why you can't crowd the umpire at penalty corners. And why you can't interfere with the referral. Because you can't do everything at once. How's he going to communicate to the video umpire when he's got 4 players around him yelling into his microphone and swearing at him? You can't do that. So you have to stop. You have to get the players away. That's why they're always like, okay, I've got your question, now move away so that I can tell the video umpire without broadcasting all your bullshit over the broadcast system for everybody to hear. That's why. It's also really hard to focus on your job when you have 4 people telling you different things and yelling at you at the same time, and you're trying to communicate with somebody else over a headset. Try it. It's really hard to do. Okay, well, I guess science doesn't exist because that's not what we learn from sports psychology science. But all right, you make all your excuses. Yes, definitely a round of the week. Okay. You once carded 4 players for crowding. The captain was trying to get them clear. Why did you card 4 players? You don't card 4. You card 1. No, you never card 4 players. That's dumb. And if the captain is trying, then you definitely don't card the captain. You card the offender who is not listening to his captain, who's trying to do the right thing. That helps, absolutely. Because this is undesirable behavior. Distraction, that helps, but that doesn't mean that we now excuse it whenever it's a stop time situation. The Sills is sorry, that was your point about not needing to be crowded. He's not said he won't refer it. He just hasn't had the chance to do it. Okay. I get it. Excellent stuff. We'll just flip to the poll to see what's going on here. And I mean, just participate all you want. There you go. The way it went, added by Tom. Yeah, that was basically what we wanted. Green cards for each player. Whoever said that, no. That's I mean, like this doesn't mean I agree with Incognito in any way, shape, or form, but proportionality, understanding, this is where the line in the sand is, and it's one player that goes. One. But if another player turns around and starts swearing at you because you sent somebody off on a green, now you can take other action because of the lack of discipline. Okay. So, Incognito, if we got mixed up in our messages and things like that, yeah. And in the situation that we just looked at, it was specifically he picked one player for the crowding, picked the third guy, and then he turned around as he was before he was walking off, and he turned around and gave him some foul language and words, which is not how it works. There are coping mechanisms. There are techniques. There is ways of thinking. I'm not using it right now because you're pissing me off, because I don't agree with anything that you're saying in terms of we're helpless. It's not true. It's not true. People are under stress all the time and they don't turn around and lose their minds. Okay. Last one, it's our bonus, I think. Was that 7? Oh no, we have 8. Sorry. 8. Here we go. Managing an injured player. Just a reminder, and you can see it in operation because some people still sometimes have questions as to how they should deal with things. And this was the final. Yes. The Foggy Night in Ranchi, where there was a collision in front of the umpire here, and the FIH briefing, and the briefing in many territories, maybe not yours, but probably is, that if you suspect a head injury, you want to stop time immediately because of the high level of danger to that player. Suspected injury, or
it looks like a head
you see blood,
collision there.
then time needs to be stopped right away.
Now, but Germany were on the attack. They
Okay.
won't have issue with this, but we'll likely see India surrender possession here to show goodwill.
Thank you.
Brilliantly done.
And I don't know why this is here. Probably because I was trying to lock the comments and it's going to be in the wrong place. And Inga, I mean, I think that we have a lot of conversations here about using cards and how the problem with trying not to use cards is that you're not sending consistent messages to the players about your expectations, and they don't know what they should be doing. So if they're like, oh, well, it's okay to, break down the play. We've just gotten away with it 4 times and the umpire's just like not using their cards. Well, we're going to keep doing it. But if you card immediately, then you stop that from happening the next time because they're like, oh yeah, we don't want to take this card. We don't want to take this upgrade penalty. And that creates better, faster, more skilled, free-flowing hockey that you as an umpire can just sit back and not have to get involved with. And you can just applaud. Because that is what everybody wants, is the best hockey possible. So I would adjust a little bit of the mindset that goes behind when you card and when you don't. And we talk about that a lot here. Okay. So yes, that's sort of the point here, is that it's kind of like we mentioned when Spud called down that raised hit in the midfield, is that at least he called it right away. So the sliding door closed and we didn't have to deal with, oh my God, Christopher Ruhr, was about to score. Or he did score and now it's getting called back because the umpire thought, I don't think that was the right thing. If you're going to make the mistake or if you need to stop the play, you stop it right away instead of waiting for a team to be on a breakaway because they will not understand. And it's not fair to the players to interrupt them like that. Okay, so that's the quick time. That's the time that you really want to get into there. Okay. Yeah, it did take a little bit of time. And then the management of the bully situation was good and expected. So there you go. Here's another example that happened, and I'll go to the poll after this.
It remains 20 seconds. Korea fighting hard.
This is the wrong situation. So I will do what I did before and fix this. That's not what I wanted to do either. I'm in preview mode. I want to go to this scene. Oh, but this works. Okay.
Games for him, 21 caps now. The, University
almost got
Victoria,
through without many technical difficulties, but not so much.
It's Van Son. Trying to have a play down in the minute. Van Son into the circle, fires across, and Canada get their second goal of the game.
Absolutely fine. Yes, China did have a player down, but the player had been hit on the foot, and there is absolutely no reason for the umpires to stop that. They have to stop for head injuries, but not for anything else. The player was still walking around after that. It went down because he was hurt. I understand it. Chance opens the blade and pops it in past the flailing goalkeeper. Great finish. China will be disappointed that Yi Wenwei was down on the pitch. Unfortunately.
So as he is wont to do, oh, and we have this same comment still up. Very nice. As he's wont to do, Mace explains it very, very thoroughly, just in case. But in this situation, consider the nature of the injury is very clear, that the defender has taken the ball in the foot very hard. I'm sure he's in a ton of pain. But he is safely out of the way of the play, and it's able to continue forwards without him. And to stop the play and break down what ends up being a very lucrative attack for the opposing team, just happens to be Canada. I didn't pick it that way. Allows for better hockey. And as Mace pointed out, and I think I clipped that last segment, if we don't apply this kind of standard, then we encourage players to break down the play with feigning injuries. And nobody wants that because we don't want football. And there we go. So yes, we play. Okay. There we go. Was there a German arm? No, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. Let's have a quick look at the poll before we move on to our last bonus question. And we want immediate bully there. Wait until you're sure the player is injured, 2 of you. No, that's not what the briefing requires. Okay. Check whether there's a head injury. No, the wording is Stain is a suspected head injury. So it's difficult because you may have no idea, but we err on the side of caution when it comes to the head. Because, you know, a player who gets knocked and falls in an awkward fashion like we saw in that case might suddenly have a seizure because of the way that they were struck. So seconds count. Seconds count. And when it comes to brain injuries, we don't like those. Ever make a decision to play and have a What Up Wednesday vindicated 2 weeks later? I hope so. That happens all the time. I have people who message me on a Thursday and say, "Oh my God, this just happened to me." Thank you. So that's fun. Okay, here's our last bonus. Let's see. Oh wait, Inga, if it's blood or head, you suspect a serious injury, yep, then stop play. That is the wording. Okay. Here's the bonus that I tried to avoid and couldn't. I'm not playing the sound with it because it will result in a copyright strike. This is from hockey.nl, but it's been reposted by about 14 million Instagram accounts because, yay, clickbait. So the question to you in the poll is, please go to the poll and vote right away. There is one correct answer. There is one correct answer. If you haven't seen it already. This makes no sense. Why this makes no sense at all? You know what's really awful? So some of the comments are like, "Oh, he's acting." Like, I think the umpire may have commented on one of the iterations of the reel somewhere and said, "I'm okay. Don't worry about it," sort of thing. But the question is, what is the remedy, if any? Is there a penalty to this or not? This is a good starting point, Stephen. As someone who doesn't do indoor, your vote is whichever the equivalent of a 5-minute yellow from outdoor is. Okay? And the logic being is what? Why are you applying a 5-minute yellow for that? And you just saw where the stick came from. So as we covered in the past, when Kata got hit with the face mask in Argentina, when a German defender threw it and hit her in the face and split her open, the FIH came down very quickly with a briefing note, a piece of guidance to remind everybody that under the outdoor rules in 916, that throwing an object at another person, not just a player, but an umpire, a spectator, ball patrol, volunteer, tech official, anybody like that, opposition coach, manager, medic, photographer, if you throw an object at those people, that is a foul under 916. It's not just that's a piece of misconduct that we generally deal with the way that we deal with, say, dissent. It's a specifically named offense under the rules. And they said because of the high level of danger and the recklessness involved in throwing your face mask, players need to understand that they have to exercise care. And that if they strike an umpire or somebody else with a discarded face mask, it's an automatic 5-minute yellow card. Okay. So definitely yellow, says TAF. Players shouldn't ever throw their sticks. And that's the interesting part. So I want you to shape that now. Face masks, players are supposed to throw them. They're supposed to discard them. We know it's coming. They know they have to do it. That's the cost of wearing this extra equipment that's going to make you braver and more safe when you're defending penalty corners, is that you have to discard them at some point when you're able to, or when the umpire instructs you, and before you exit the 23 or you're defending half in the case of indoor. Inga, you had a player who was hurt foot and told to roll back onto the field by their coach. No joke. Oh gosh. The stories. So the rules say that you shouldn't throw equipment dangerously. This doesn't feel like it was thrown intentionally at them, but something stupid. Okay. Rupert, you're expecting, yes. Okay. So you're expecting a discarded face mask though. You're not expected to discard your stick. And this is extraordinarily reckless, even if not remotely malicious. Simon, I think this is just reckless as to the result. He wasn't throwing it at a person. He was throwing it into the air. Okay. But he was fully in control of his decision to throw it in the air, and then it endangered and actually struck an umpire. Okay. Knowing the FIH that the outdoor thing hasn't, carding hasn't been implemented in the rule set yet. Well, this isn't a face mask, but it would be. And if a defender hits an umpire with a face mask in indoor, I would expect a 2-minute yellow card, because in indoor, 2 minutes or 4 minutes. Okay, so now I've just excluded some of the polling options. It's 2 or 4. That's it. Because the game is shorter. So it's not 5 or 10, 2 or 4. And for Simon, indoor equivalent to a 10-minute yellow card. Okay, so what is it about that would be a 4-minute yellow card? Why is he throwing in the air? Because he's mad that his team just gave up a penalty corner. It's probably near the end of the game, and it was a stupid foot foul. And he's like, blah! Emotional reaction. It was emotional damage. If it was aimed at a player in aggression, would say a red. Therefore, step down from there. You've changed your mind to a longer yellow, which is 4 minutes. Okay, let's look at the poll and see what you said. 4-minute yellow card for 10 of you, a 2-minute yellow card for 1 person, and somebody said a 10-minute yellow card. 3 people said that because they forgot that this is indoor, and 1 person wants a red card. For me, it's a 4-minute yellow card, because you're not ever expected to throw a stick, and so you step that up, but he didn't intend to hit the umpire, and clearly was very apologetic afterwards. But there's a player who didn't control their emotions, and apparently can't be expected to if you listen to some folks. Just a reminder.
Now.
Hi. Oh.
The University of Victoria.
Something's going on
business
behind the scenes here. There we go. I stopped that from happening. I had a video playing in the background of this scene. Oops. That's my mistake. Oh, I thought there was another comment. There it is. Curiosity question. What actually happened? I don't know. It's an Instagram reel. It's designed to take everything out of context and force you not to learn and just to react and clickbait and like, and then everybody, big engagement farming. Was that my rant? No, I had a rant earlier. You are very welcome. I will probably have some more Olympic qualifier stuff next week. Just some odds and ends, a few little things like that. But we are getting into indoor season internationally. I know a lot of you have championships and have been doing it for the last month. And I'm sorry, it's just that the international calendar doesn't align to what the domestics do. And that is one of the crappy parts about the indoor seasons. So we're going to talk a lot of indoor coming up, maybe mixed in with some outdoor stuff. I don't know. We'll see. It's up to you. Send me the clips. Send me notice of what you see. And make sure you get into the Discord server and give us a wave. Have a little chat. If there are things that you want to follow up on, that we talked about today that you weren't sure about, or you want to argue with me more, I'm here for that action. I'm here for that because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. And I like being tested because it helps me find gaps in my own ability to either explain things well or gaps in my logic. It helps me correct things when I've gotten things wrong, and I do occasionally get things wrong. And it makes us better as a community. So thank you for all of that. And yes, there is that whole thing. You can do that. And there you go. It was close. It was right on the edge. Right on the edge. There you go. And you can't wait to see how the Dutch indoor teams will do. Oh, no. Yeah, it's a real shame. It's a real shame. But hey, they're at the Hockey Fives. Oh, and that reminds me. Let's just tie this up. They're at the Hockey World Fives World Cup in Oman right now. And you talk about the Hockey Fives in this server. Something interesting happened during the Dutch game. Take it into the server and let's find out if it's actually interesting. Because one of the reasons that I ignore Hockey Fives is that it's not interesting. So I'll be your Huckleberry. Prove me wrong. Thank you very much for joining in. It was a blast this week. And we will see you on the next What Up Wednesday. Have a great hockey weekend.